What is fast fashion? And what exactly makes it fast? Fast fashion is defined as inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass market retailers in response to the latest trends. So inexpensive. Brands like Primark, H&M, Boohoo, but also River Island, Topshop, Urban Outfitters. Cheap garments are only possible if the cost of production is cheap, which in turn means that there are consequences for our health, our planet, and the lives of the garment worker health. Asking yourself what is in your clothes in the first place is a great way to understand this. How much of your clothes are actually made of plastic like nylon and polyester, which are cheap to produce? And then the amount of chemicals that are in clothes. 63% of items tested from major brands contain hazardous chemicals. Our planet. In a lot of the countries where textiles are produced, untreated toxic wastewaters are dumped into the rivers. Then the garment workers themselves. Often, textiles are produced in very poor countries. The garment workers do not get paid a living wage. So that's a lot of the reason why our fast fashion is so cheap. There's cheap labor. Those garment workers are working 14 to 16 hours a day in horrible conditions. Those garment workers are working those hours to make those clothes very, very quickly, very fast. About 80 billion garments are produced each year, and brands release weekly or bi-weekly collections instead of 2 seasons. It used to just be spring, summer, and autumn, winter. Now, every 2 weeks, there's new stock coming out onto the shelves. Buying clothes in stock like basics allows companies to produce these cheap, on-trend season garments that will only stay for a few weeks in the shops. Fast fashion retailers want to sell you these clothes quickly. They want a quick turnover. They want that stock on the shelves and then to make you think that you need it. And they're selling that to you. They're selling that to you at discounts, meaning even less money for the garment workers. And 2 weeks later, there's something new that they want you to get. It's just constant toxic cycle where you buy stuff and then they're like, oh look, it's this. So you buy it again. Something slightly different, made of cheap fabric, not created under great conditions, using lots of toxic chemicals that the garment workers and even, for example, the cotton farmers, all the pesticides that are used, they're also subject to a lot of health conditions. And then not good for our planet, all the plastic that we're producing. So fast fashion comes down to the way it's produced. I have heard some people talking before about if you're buying something from Primark and you decide that you're going to keep that for a year, 2 years, you're actually giving life to that garment, then is it considered fast fashion? But it does boil down to the way it's produced, how quickly it's produced, how much energy is used, how much resources are used, our natural resources, and how little these garment workers are being paid, because the CEOs of all of these companies, if you want to look them up, are paid millions. There is money there, but the garment workers themselves aren't being paid. The majority of these garment workers are women. 80% of them are women, making it a feminist issue, and they are not being treated fairly, not being paid a living wage, and that's just so that we can have these cheap clothes that, unless you take care of them, aren't going to last that long. And the type of clothes that they are, with all these kind of patterns and things that are only going to be relevant for 2 or 3 weeks of the year, because they produce something new every single time and make you think that what you have isn't trendy anymore. So we're all going around wearing the same stuff that's only trendy for 2 weeks. And then you can't pair that with other stuff in your wardrobe. Unlike if you had more plain things that you can add jewelry to, that you can embroider, that you can make different that you can use with different tops, with different jeans, with different styles, instead of the fast fashion brands producing styles that you can't actually wear with the other clothes that you have. So when you look in your wardrobe that's full of clothes, you can't string a few pieces of clothing together because none of it works. It was all bought really, really quickly, because you go into Primark or H&M or that, and you see something that's there and you think, oh, that's nice. But you feel under pressure to buy it because that might not be there in a week's time, and you decide, oh, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get that. It might not be there. Or if it is, it's going to be reduced to an even cheaper price, which means even less money for those garment workers that aren't paid. And this was especially when the COVID-19 pandemic started. They weren't paid for the garments that they had already produced, because it happens after they're sold. So you're buying something for a discount in Pennies that was already like a tenner, and now it's a fiver. How much of that actually gets given to a garment worker? Fast fashion is also not necessarily a recent trend. It's been happening the past 20 years, maybe a little bit longer than that, as we are producing 400% more clothes than we did 20 years ago. Everything we have now, especially now, is at the click of a button. We go online, there we are on Pretty Little Thing, and there is 400 items in the new in section. You click on that, and then 2 minutes later you have it purchased, and then next day delivery, 2-3 day delivery. Everything about it is quick, it's fast, and that's there for a reason. They give you that, they want you to buy more. In many cases you even get free returns, and those returns go to landfill most of the time. They don't get resold. That's actually more expensive. So they go to landfill, or they go to Africa, to poor countries. We also get a little bit of an endorphin increase when our packages arrive for that little bit of time. We had only bought it 2 days ago, and now it's after arriving in its pretty little box, and we have it, and we get that little endorphin rush. Shopping online or shopping in a shop allows us to do that as well. It's like a little treat that we get for ourselves, and the fast fashion brands know that. So another reason why they're trying to very quickly get you to buy something else, so that you feel that rush of endorphins. I have shared some links in the description if you want to have a look at them. And also, I hope this has made you think about fast fashion and online shopping habits, where you're buying from, what's in your clothes, who made your clothes, because that's all a part of fast fashion and why it is so fast.